What's up, everybody? We're back on FreeCodeCamp.org with the daily code challenge for September 28th. This one's called CSV Header Parser. Given the first line of a comma-separated values CSV file, return an array containing the headings. The first line of the CSV file contains headings separated by commas. Remove any leading or trailing whitespace from each heading. And you see we have like name, age, city, no spaces, but we have the commas, and it returns an array of each of those words. And you see on this one, we have like a trailing space here, leading space, trailing space. But this is dead simple in JavaScript. You might be tempted to sit here and think, okay, well, I gotta iterate through the CSV string, right? I won't do the whole manual solution here, but I could kind of demonstrate trying to rush through this and code off the top of your head, because you can iterate through every character in this string, and you would check to see if this character is equal to a comma, I guess. If it is, then you want to continue, but you definitely want to have like a current word string. And I guess you would want a result array. So you have like a result array, and you're pushing things into the result array, and that would be like your current word that you're adding to every iteration, right? So you have the character in the string, in the CSV string, and you're building the current word, and then as soon as you get to a comma, then you're going to want to push the current word into the result. Let's see, current, like that, and then you want to clear out the current word, and then you have to deal with the leading and trailing spaces. So if it's a trailing space, you could say or CSV equals space, but then you have spaces in the words, so maybe you would trim off, notice I'm using the keyword trim, you would trim off the leading and trailing spaces in a separate loop. But this is a pain in the butt, and I don't recommend you approach it this way. It's a lot more simple than this, my friends, because JavaScript has a split method on its strings. We can split it by the commas, and then this results in an array of strings. Now that we have an array of strings that represent the words, the headings, we can map over that and take each heading in that array and just trim. Because JavaScript strings have a trim method that automatically removes any leading or trailing whitespace. And that is our solution. Very easy, very simple. Don't overthink it. This is a really good opportunity to get to know what split does. You could use map. You don't necessarily have to use map. You could also just use a for loop to iterate through this array and trim each item. Like another way to look at map is that if we break this into separate lines, you are returning for each item in the array that split produces, you are returning a new version of that item with map. But we don't necessarily have to use map. We could also take this, have a result array here, and then iterate through the result array. And each item in the result array, we just get the trimmed version of it. So that's another way to approach this, a little bit more coding, but it is a solution also. However, this is all you really need to do. So I figured I would explain a little bit more about this problem because I knew it would be pretty simple and I didn't want this video to be too short. I want you to get something out of it, but there's not much more to it than that. If you can think of another way to look at this or you have some other different solution for this, I am happy to hear about it. Just leave a comment below. If you like this video, please click that like button. It'll help out my new channel quite a bit. And go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'll be posting daily coding challenges as much as I can. And pretty soon I'm going to be getting into Leet Code challenges. So stay tuned for that. Until then, thanks very much for watching again. And I will talk at you later. Good luck on your coding journey, my friends.